Hola, buenas tardes. Thanks for having me at NodeConf Argentina. Today I'm going to share a bit of the state of the ecosystem and where we've gotten in the past 25 years in the web platform and subsequently Node.js. Ironically, that timeline aligns with my career. Yeah, I'm that old. And we're going to take that as a point of reference and leverage that understanding of what we've built in these 25 years and see how we can leverage that into the future for the next 25. So, as our gracious MCs introduced me, I'm Dan Shaw. I've been deep down the rabbit hole of Node.js for the past 10 years. I CTO and founder of NodeSource. Before NodeSource, I was the founder and CEO of one of the first consulting firms in Node. And both of these organizations represent creating opportunities for individuals who are passionate about Node.js and helping organizations that were adopting Node understand the platform, understand the differences with the platform and getting the most out of it. Before creating these companies, I spent a lot of time in startups using Node.js. You may recognize my voice, I'm sorry, from the podcast NodeUp. In addition to creating opportunities to work together and to do things professionally, it's important that we also take care of ourselves as individuals and community. So through events like NodeBots Day, NodeBots SF, SF Node, Enterprise.js, and even Node Day Toronto, and several other Node Days, you may be familiar with some of the work that I've done with Node Summit. I have sought to create opportunities for us to get together and share understanding and share the knowledge that we've gained so that others can grow as well. In 2015, I helped bring in and negotiate the complex challenges of putting Node into a foundation and served as a director on behalf of NodeSource. In the project, I'm champion for a couple projects in the community committee where I'm very active. I've helped organize user feedback to bring end user context into the project to make sure that we're continuing to satisfy the needs of end users. And the mentorship initiative where we are helping individuals throughout the world get involved with the Node.js project and improve their ability to collaborate in open source and through that collaboration also improve their careers. Then over the last year, I've extended the work that I've done in Node, kind of voting with my feet. I thought that we as a project in Node.js needed to spend a little bit more time with the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the CNCF. So I leveraged my experience in security and as a defense contractor to help chair and set up a security working group. That enables a vision of a cloud system that is truly multi-party. We, when we're using the cloud, need to have security in all of the contexts that we're using the cloud. The operator, the administrators, the end levels of administration with the organizations, leveraging cloud systems, developers, and end users as well. So let's dive in. Application development in 2018 is really thriving around what we have in the web platform. The web platform offers us JavaScript, a dynamic language that helps us create fantastic applications. We have the web APIs that extend the language and enable us to create amazing things with HTML and CSS. Developers love this platform. It's extremely reliable, and it's proven value in the enterprise, the ability to sustainably invest in an open platform. It's free, it's open, and it's standardized. As a complement, we have Node.JS. Node has JavaScript, web APIs. It enables us to extend the paradigm of the web into native code. And it enables us to generate the experiences that we want to create with HTML and CSS. Similar to the web platform, Node has become a platform that developers love. It's extremely reliable and has proven value over the last few years as an essential tool in the enterprise. It's free, it's open, but it's not yet standardized. We'll have a look at why. So how do we get here? I'm going to go back, like way back. As we were working towards building this web platform ecosystem, it all started with a massive gesture of open source. Coming from CERN, the source code of the World Wide Web was released into the public domain, kicking off a generation of open standards and a foundation upon which the technology ecosystem that we have today is accessible to us. Interestingly, almost immediately after that, the NCSA released the Mosaic browser as a proprietary tool. So it thus began this dance of open and proprietary. So we leveraged and built an open ecosystem, and we tried to innovate first in a proprietary way. Then, a year later, in 1994, Sir Tim Berners-Lee helped found the W3C, kicking off an increased commitment to standardizing, ensuring that the World Wide Web continues to serve our needs into the future. In 1994, a moment that cemented my involvement in this platform, Mark Andreessen left the NCSA and created Netscape, another proprietary browser. This moment is when I looked to the web and said that kind of impact, the incredible work that Andreessen had done to innovate and change the entire face of technology, that's what I want to do. So shortly thereafter, in 1995, Microsoft licensed Mosaic and began to really bring competition into the web browser space. Again, proprietary, another proprietary browser, competing to define what the de facto experience is of the web. That began to build tension. In 1998, the Web Standard Project began to champion the aligning of browsers to deliver standards-based technology so that we wouldn't be pigeonholed, we wouldn't be locked into an expression of the web that was defined by a single vendor, that we could all continue to leverage this platform and continue to grow as the browsers innovated. Interestingly, the more we relied on the web platform, the more we wanted from it. And things got weird. We started breaking the web. We introduced things like Java. We thought maybe if we stuff this Java thing into the web, that we'll have the capabilities that will give us more dynamic experience. If you happen to be around and enjoy applets at that time, it provided some experience. It also burned a hole in your computer because it ate tons of resources. And it was, net, a pretty terrible experience. We tried again with Flash, ActiveX, Silverlight, Flex. I was doing government work back then, and at the time, Adobe Flex was our go-to way of delivering a consistent user experience across all the various platforms. We could ensure that the visual construct of the applications that we were building were consistent with Flex. However, that mode of operation broke the web. It didn't enable us to copy-paste. It didn't enable us to extend that platform with the evolving needs of the web. It was brutal. So From there, we begin a real journey into open standards, and it's fun. If you kind of look back historically at Microsoft, we like to kick them a lot. But the influence of Microsoft has really defined some of the biggest open standards-based moments of this technology evolution. In 2000, Microsoft released the Internet Explorer 5 for Mac, and it had robust support for W3 standards. So we put in the work to make those standards, and then with those standards, we set the bar by defining that browsers sought for. We gave the vendors something to shoot for, to align around, and really change the direction of the web. In 2003, Don Shea launched a project called CSS Zen Garden, and that really shook developers who were working with the web and expanded our understanding of what we could create. With a single HTML document, users were encouraged to leverage CSS and experiment with a single implementation and create something fantastic. We really pushed the boundaries of what the web was able to do. And in that time, we began to really look for more than just the document-based construct that the web was based around. We began to seek out a more application-based infrastructure. But it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns. Unfortunately, the W3C at that time also standards way too hard. They went in and tried to extend the paradigm that was popular at the time with XML and create ahead of end user interests a standard XHTML2. And that broke and really was not in line with the dynamic platform that we were trying to create. We had things like the yellow page of death. If you had any mismatched tag in a XHTML2 document, the page would just fail. And the underlying structure of our web pages at that time were coming in and out. We were doing new and innovative approaches to constructing those web pages. Those web pages were no longer documents. XML was not the future. We ran away. That wasn't it. So in 2004, the WhatWG, the WhatWig, was formed with the aim of writing a better HTML markup spec, built for modern web applications, and around and giving us in that innovation continued backwards compatibility. We need to expand the capabilities of the web, but we can't break the past. 2005, the web application spec 1.0 was released, and you probably know that as HTML5. In 2009, that spec, after long, hard consensus building and introducing new capabilities into the platform, was released, and it fundamentally changed the face of the web. All of those capabilities that we tried to achieve with Java, with Flash, with Flex, with Silverlight, now we had natively into the platform. We were able to use, in standards-based approach, the dynamic application-centric paradigm of the web. Interestingly, around that same time, Ryan Dahl created Node.JS. We needed a platform that would enable us to drive those web applications. And Ryan did that work in the open on GitHub. This is one of the first times that a major platform was created from the ground up, and everybody was invited to participate or just observe. If you didn't feel like getting in the weeds or just wanted to check on the project and leverage that capabilities of that, you could. You could follow along. It engendered an enormous sense of ownership for all of those that were participating in Node.js's growth. In 2011, we decided, we had several different package managers at the time, Kiwi, and there was a lot of project vendoring happen. That was still a very common practice to just sort of shove your modules into a vendor folder on your application. We got together and we decided that the user experience in Node, which we wanted to keep minimalist at its core so we could grow and expand over time, was enhanced by having a dependency management tool where you could easily pull in dependency and share code. Unfortunately, in 2014, we had a bit of difference of opinion with the corporate steward of the Node.js project. There were individuals inside the steward organization that wanted to, reserve Node for an elite few. They wanted to take this platform that was growing and changing the face of the technology ecosystem and make it robust by excluding those who didn't reach a perceived bar of participation. We disagreed. That was not Node. Node is fundamentally welcoming, and we seek to actively invite participation from anyone and everyone in the ecosystem. We exist. We exist as a project to grow that experience, and we still have to have a responsibility to ship high-quality code. In Node, we achieve that by active participation from folks all across the world. We have more hands, and we have more insight, and together we deliver incredibly high-quality software. In 2015, we were finally able to come back together in a unique moment in all of open source. A fork unforked, and we became Node.js again. And we were able to bring this project into a shared governance, an open governance platform through the Node.js Foundation, where we could continue to invest in Node and grow that implementation of this platform for years to come. Later that year, around angry pink unicorn's birthday, Node.js 4 was released, and with that, we launched a strategy for long-term support, ensuring that the business users that were adopting Node.js had long-term, stable APIs, reliable deployments that they could use for years. We did it, kind of. We did an amazing job and delivered a fantastic experience. So we have this incredible platform in Node.js delivering kind of the same stuff as the web platform. If we look at that in a unified worldview, that Venn diagram is pretty close to being a circle. In Node, we have a little bit more extension into native code, some file system access that's a little bit more novel. And on the web, there's innovation happening like web workers that is extending the way that the web works and enabling us to do new and interesting things and deliver great experiences for our end users by offloading some of the work into web workers. But we're not going to stop there. Thankfully, this year we were able to begin integrating the concept of web workers into Node.js, thanks to the work of Anna Hensington. And this, amazingly, by adopting and unifying the expression across the platform, begins to solve a Node.js problem. So worker threads have been kind of the bane of my existence. I've been helping folks move from Java, from thread-based systems to Node.js. And if you want to do heavy lifting in a single process of Node, that'll actually degrade your end user experience. The solution is relatively straightforward if you know how to do it. It's separating it out into different processes. But that's not does not align with the expectation of end users. So worker threads in Node will now finally enable us to deliver experiences similar to what users expect when they're doing server-side rendering, and they need to offload some of that work out of the main thread and not block the event loop. Then on the web platform side, we've introduced WebAssembly and enabling native code execution with the robust sandboxing that the web platform has afforded us for years. Both Node.js and the web platform have massive user bases, broad reusability, well-known and stable APIs, and have slight differences around the governance structure. The Venn diagram there is still pretty integrated. With Node.js, we have open governance, and with web, we have multi-party standards and robust governance around how we're creating and ensuring that the future implementations of the web can be compatible for years to come. This has given us an incredible lift in technology. I was spending out of my pocket thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to deliver dynamic web pages at the beginning of the 2000s. I no longer need to do that. I have everything that I need in the open platform. So, as we look to the future, the next 25 years, one thing is clear. Proprietary platforms have consistently under-delivered over time because they break our ability to create and innovate. We always end up needing to go around them because we can't evolve them. Open source, over time, with our implementation, is not enough. We need to bring things into open governance so we can ensure that we can continue to access and develop and experiment and explore and fork. Forking is not fundamentally bad. Sometimes we need to take a project in a different direction based on our needs. Standardization, unfortunately, when we try to do it ahead of broad consensus, breaks and fails us. We need to build standards about robust consensus and broad deployment. That's when we need to explore that. I personally think that React is approaching that point. We need to innovate, but then we need to bring those standards back into broader adoption. Il mondo del web è un sistema integrato e unito. Node.js, piattaforma del web, e JavaScript ci offrono un ecosistema dinamico e espansivo che I'm trying. Parlo italiano, ma Thank you. È il nostro dovere di creare, di espandere, di esplorare il nuovo orizzonte del sistema. Sorry, too much Italian, right? Però quando arriviamo al punto tale che il consenso è robusto, è nostra responsabilità di mandare avanti standards così all Italian now, sorry. Così assicuriamo che la prossima generazione abbia l'accesso a questa piattaforma e loro possono andare più avanti. Muchas gracias.